stumped him. He stumped him. He stumped him. Nice block. Wow. Great penetration. Surge through the middle of that. Michigan State first and goal. Touchdown. Yeah. Outstanding play.
Good evening, everybody. This is Brian Mosalem. I'm your co-host alongside Jason Strayhorn, and boy, what an evening it is, Mr. Strayhorn.
What an evening indeed, Mr. Mosalem. What a win. Hey, Spartans win against the undefeated Michigan Wolverines, both 7-0. Now, one 7-1, and the other is 8-0. Which are the third college football playoff ranked MSU Spartans. Unbelievable. Fantastic.
Just announced today, you saw the CFB came out today with the rankings. Had us ranked third.
Just a short time ago.
Had us ranked third. But all of that stems from Saturday, and as former players and former Spartans, I don't really know how we can be any happier, right?
No. I mean, there is a few things that can make us happier, but as far as right now in this season, at this point in time, I mean, we're playing with house money, obviously. This is outstanding. And how about the performance by K9?
Oh, K9 was special. There's no question about it, you know. So you see that we moved to 8-0, and winners of 10 of the last 14 games, and that game lived up to the billing. I mean, the electricity in that stadium, blow for blow, body blow, shot after shot. Right?
Michigan played a hell of a game.
Absolutely. And all the hype, all the talk, all the smack, everything evolved in that game, lived up to, as they say, the billing. And I'm going to tell you, when I watched that game, and I sat there and I saw Michigan come out 10-0, and I saw us fight back and claw and fight and chop. Keep doing what it takes to win.
Yeah.
And you just got to be proud of these kids, these young men.
You have to be proud of them in the face of adversity, in the face of bad weather conditions, slippery footing, starting off in a 10-0 deficit, by the way, which is something that, when you're coming off a bye week, really scares you. I mean, I got that question a ton last week. What scares you the most about this game? That. Starting in a 10-0 deficit. It could have been 14-0. But they were able to take the blows. I mean, this is a talented Michigan team. There's no doubt about it. There's the ceiling interception by Charles Brantley. But this is a talented Michigan team, Brian. And when I look at what they were able to do, I'm talking about the Michigan State Spartans, in the face of the adversity, it really, as a former player, as you are, both of us, we felt a sense of pride, like a almost like one of those like how Coach D watched. I mean, we're going to talk about that later. How he was looking over the program that he built. You have a sense of pride, and it brings up some emotions that you just don't get on a day-to-day basis, and that's why we love this game.
Wow. I mean, you can't explain it either. You and I both played in this game.
Yeah.
And you and I, we know how hard it is to overturn an avalanche in football, right? Momentum is everything. And to be down 10-0, to be down 13-7, to be down 30-14, and to overcome all of those things in a football game that means so much. Well, both you and I know how much this game means. Talk to me about how you were feeling at that time.
Oh my gosh.
Because look, we can go over highlights all day. We can show you all the touchdowns. Everybody saw everything that there is. But as a former player, we can't explain how we feel. I can't explain how I felt.
No.
I was very choked up after that game.
No, we were all choked up. I'm on the air live doing a broadcast with my broadcast partner, George Blaha, and I had to fight back tears. I was getting choked up at some times. I don't know if people could hear it. I was hitting the cough button so that you couldn't. But there's no question about it. When I'm seeing what I saw unfold in front of my eyes and understanding what it takes to do this. I mean, this isn't easy. I mean, Mel Tucker is a guy who comes in here unheralded. Nobody really understands, who he is. He didn't have a great head coaching record at Colorado. He didn't necessarily have a great record last season. What was it, 2-5 for Michigan State? But he did beat Michigan. So there was a glimmer of hope. There's 41 new faces on this team, and the world is buzzing about this is the game. This is one of the biggest games of the century because Michigan State is 7-0, Michigan is 7-0. Both of them are ranked in the top 10, first time since 1964. And 1964, they weren't both undefeated. So here we are in a game that has so much magnitude. The stakes are so high. And then you have a bunch of guys that don't really understand this rivalry. How are you going to get them to understand what this really means on one side when clearly Michigan understood what this rivalry meant and what it means? As evidence.
Did they?
Yeah, as evidence. Look, listen, you had current players, former players, coaches. There were so many people from the other side talking about this.
Chirping.
A lot of chirping.
Hold on. That weren't even in the game, weren't going to make a player tackle.
Well, that's part of the deal.
They were chirping.
That's part of the deal.
Why is that part of the deal, though?
That speaks to the program.
Tell me why that's part of the deal.
It speaks to the
Because
program.
you or I or them are not blocking and tackling.
No, not at
Right?
all. Yeah.
Why is that part of the deal?
You know what they did?
When you've lost
They showed their
10
hand.
of the last 14,
They showed their hand.
why is that part of the deal?
They made it easier. Back when we played, we really didn't understand it. I got a glimpse of it because I had a high school teammate that went on to play at Michigan who said some slick stuff to me when I signed with Michigan State. And I really thought when I signed at Michigan State, and my buddy Tony Henderson had signed at Michigan a couple of years before me from North Central High School in Indianapolis, that we're going to work out together in the summer. We're going to hold hands and run together and lift together. I thought that. But as soon as I signed, you know how naive freshmen are,
Sure.
before you're a freshman. But as soon as I signed, he made it very crystal clear I was on the other side. We're the civilized people, and you sign with those farmers. And I'm like, whoa. Okay, so now we're not cool anymore. And that was me as a 17-year-old signing to come to Michigan State, having no idea. You have guys now and I wasn't even contributing in the first year. Leave no doubt about that. I was not contributing. You have 41 new guys. A lot of those guys are contributing. Kenneth Walker III has no idea, as when he signed from Wake Forest and we entered the transfer portal, what this rivalry meant. He learned literally
he's not the
a
only
week
one.
ago. There's more. There's more guys, no doubt about it. But he learned a week ago what this rivalry meant. And what did Michigan do? What did the Michigan players do? What did the former players do? Not all. But they helped it. They allowed for crystal clear, I would say, evidence as to why we, on both sides of the fence, dislike each other on Saturday nights, Saturday mornings, Saturday afternoons, whenever it is. They showed them.
So they obviously they permeated the culture, right? They said everything we expected them to say. Former players, I give the current players credit. They didn't chirp much.
Not much.
No.
No.
But former players did. And, every Spartan grabs on to every word that's said heading into this rivalry, heading back to 2007, like we talked about with Coach D.
Mike Hurt.
Yeah. And it fuels the fire, right? It fuels the flame.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about the X's and O's real quick.
Yeah.
37-33 final. K9 has 5 touchdowns. Offensive line, we thought, blocked very well. All right. Ran block very well. Had some pass protection issues because 97's a hell of a player. Hell of a player.
Aiden Hutchinson.
Yeah. Cade McNamara, we said beat us over the top, throw the ball. He did very well, played very well.
Oh, unflappable Cade
Yes,
McNamara. He
Absolutely.
played, oh my God.
Absolutely
The game he played.
Unquestionable.
On the road?
On the road, the way he played. You got to give hats off to the young man. Hats off to Michigan's D-line on pass protection. But we ran the football. We ran the football better than I expected. And I'm just curious, as you being in the booth, why you thought so.
I'll be honest with you. I didn't think that our offensive line play was that good offensively. Like when you're talking about pass protection, it was okay. Run was mediocre. I think that these are some guys that were coming off the ball and doing the best that they could, but Michigan literally challenged them and had only 5, sometimes 6 guys in the box. When K9 had trouble against the other teams, you're looking at 8, 9 guys in the box. That's what gave him trouble. So when you can only put 5 individuals in between the tackles and at the linebacker depth area, which is at the box that we're talking about, you still have 6 people in coverage, which allows for a lot of double teaming. Look, if you have 3 receivers, you got everybody's doubled aside from the tight end. Think about this. This is what Michigan was doing and daring Peyton Thorne and company to beat them. Look, we're going to just put 5 guys here, and Michigan State had trouble moving guys against their will. They had trouble getting movement and getting up to the second level and blocking linebackers. Linebackers were scraping. Defensive linemen were reestablishing the line of scrimmage, which is what we talk about a lot in offense and defensive line play. Anybody who's ever played the game understands what I'm talking about. Reestablishing the line of scrimmage. Michigan was doing it. That's replacing their hands, where their hands are, with their feet. Both guys are trying to do the same thing. Michigan was winning at that. And K9 still found a way.
How do we run for 197 yards and 5 touchdowns? He had some gaping holes. Let's be honest here.
Later in the game.
Later on.
Later in the game. That's what happens. So because it becomes demoralizing, especially when you're doing your job, you're doing your job as a defense, and then this guy's still finding a way. He's getting out of the gate. He's out running. He's out flanking guys who have angles on them. He's out flanking guys who are great athletes that you've seen run down the fastest guy on your team. He's out doing, and then you start saying, you know what, I'm sick of this. I mean, it creeps into the mind of everyone, just like it creeped into J.J. McCarthy's mind after he had fumbled on his last play.
You called that on the radio. You said, keep in mind, he fumbled the last play of the game. Sure enough,
live.
The next play he came in,
he fumbles.
laid the ball on the turf.
You
called it. You actually called it.
We know this as players. You're a true freshman. It's psychology, man. I mean, you're talking about a player who's entering literally the biggest game of his life, J.J. McCarthy. And this isn't an indictment on him.
7 minutes? No, not him.
Not at all.
7 minutes left. You put him in the game. Now, they said McNamara was under the tent. I believe he's being looked at.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But you bring him back into the game with 7 minutes left, and they put the ball on the turf.
When we're calling this game live, we don't know. I'm thinking maybe Harbaugh sent him out there. Jim said, I want him to gain his confidence back. And I thought that was a bad move, but it wasn't that. It was they put him out there because of a necessity. McNamara wasn't available. He was hurt because of the shot he took from the corner blitz. Corner blitz, if you remember. And I can't remember the young man's name, number 30. Number 30 came from the left side of that offensive formation and absolutely lit up Cade McNamara. Hit him right below the sternum. I mean, like he was shot out of a cannon. I think that's what the Fox broadcaster said. Looks like he was shot out of a cannon. And hit him. He goes back. I mean, that takes some work from the trainers to be able to overcome that. So he's on the sideline wondering if he's going to be able to go again. And Michigan gets the ball back. Now they say, J.J. has to go in. J.J. comes in as a freshman. He says, you know what? Man, the last time I was out here, Brian, I fumbled the damn ball. And guess what happens? When you think that way, exactly just like the trouble with the snap. When you think that way, if you allow that thought to creep in, you do exactly what you're thinking about. And it happened.
I just cannot impress enough upon the mantra of just fight, chop, keep chopping, right? Down 30-14, just keep battling. 30-20, 30-22, 30-28, 30-30, 33-30, 37-30.
How improbable is that?
I mean, but just keep battling, right? Because it's a 60-minute game.
Yeah.
Hats off to Coach Tucker. Hats off to those kids. And they played their tails off. Now, have you ever seen a crowd more electric in Spartan Stadium?
Never.
I agree with you. It was absolutely electric.
That was as electric as, I've ever seen it. I can't remember anything that was close in comparison to the upswing. I just can compare it to how on the opposite end it was on the downside. That was as good as the Notre Dame 2006 was bad. And if those who were there know what I'm talking about. In the rain.
John L. Smith, I swore off.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, I swore that off. As
good as this was, that was bad. So it was on the same level, but on the upswing, though. We love it. We loved it. Every bit of it. People did not leave. Xavier Henderson talked about it. They loved the fact that Spartan Nation stayed and they cheered and they were in full effect. And it was a great win and a great atmosphere for everybody who.
Look, we can show highlights all day, but you and I both talked about as former players. Number one, how much this game means to us, right? And you and I both got very emotional after the game.
Yeah.
And then just to be able to reverse that avalanche, to come back from being down 30 to 14 and to fight back and to not give up and not quit. The hardest thing in all of sports, The absolute hardest thing is to be down by a few scores that seem out of range and to fight and to come back. There is nothing harder. I don't care what anybody says. To get 11 people all buying into not quitting, keep pushing. And really, that's a credit to Coach Tucker. I mean, it really is. Because there were many Spartans that thought at 30-14 this game is over. And they battled and fought and chopped and chopped and chopped and battled their way back. And now Mel Tucker becomes the first coach in MSU history to win his first 2 games against Michigan, which is quite impressive. Talk to us about that a little bit.
You know, it's unprecedented. You know, you talk about Mel Tucker and what he's been able to do in his short tenure as Michigan State head coach. And, you think that a lot of the stuff that's being said is coach speak. You know, we're going to keep chopping. We're going to take them to the deep water, blah, blah. And you think, okay, that's gimmicky, blah, blah. But you see the way that those young men play for him.
The mindset, the belief, they're all buying in.
You can't fake that.
You cannot fake that.
No. Mel Tucker is the real deal. I mean, here he is at the press conference.
But he knows exactly what he's saying. He's pointed in his message.
Look at it. First coach in MSU history to go 2-0 against Michigan.
He talks about chopping. He talks about the deep end. He talks about the aggregation of marginal gains. He talks about it takes what it takes. He talks about, he has all these phrases and catchphrases that really, when you're 8-0, they all make sense. Okay? And he's got all these kids bought in. He's got a program believing. He's got a Spartan Nation believing. I mean, when you look at that, right?
Yeah.
You don't have to be good. You just have to think you're good. And he has all those kids bought in.
You got to give them something to believe in. They should write a song about that. This guy, and I'm telling you, like when you talk to the most critical of analysts or players or staff or just people around the program, they can't say anything bad about Mel Tucker. They just can't. And, you and I know the deal. We understand real from fake. Ain't nobody that's going to pull wool over our eyes and make us believe that, oh, go green, go white. It's all. No. Mel Tucker's the real deal. Just like Mark Dantonio was, Mel Tucker's taking it to another level. That's where we are right now in Spartan football legacy. We're embarking on something that we've never seen before, as evidenced by what the College Football Playoff Committee sees in Michigan State. You're talking about a team that is 8-0. Oklahoma, what are they ranked? 8th? 8th?
Doesn't matter.
Nope. At 8-0. Michigan State.
It doesn't matter.
3rd in the nation after 2 SEC teams. That's where Mel Tucker has this program at the current state. And I'm not saying that he's going to run the table. Nobody's sitting here saying that. But those guys in that locker room would beg to differ. That's all that matters. It don't matter what we say. It don't matter what you think. It matters what those guys in the locker room believe. And if they believe it the way that Mel Tucker is putting it out, look out. That's all I'm saying. Look out. Because they really believe, why not now, Brian? That's what they believe.
But he gets the whole picture. He gets everything from naming certain parts of the stadium to his catchphrases to even fan engagement. Do we have that slip about fan engagement?
Fun?
Very telling.
I don't mind it. I don't mind it. I think it's fun. It's a great way to engage with our fans. We have great fans. We have the best fans in the country, and they're really. This is a football town. Yeah, this is a football school, There's a lot of pride and tradition here at Michigan State with Spartan football, and so and that's what our fans deserve. They deserve to see good football, to see a tough, hard-nosed football team out there that won't quit. They deserve to see winning football, and they deserve to be to have a coaching staff and players who appreciate them. I mean, we appreciate our fans, we appreciate our student section. When we feed off of them, and it's a community. We're all connected. Through the game of football. And so again, it's not about us. It's about everyone and all Spartans. So whether it's Tuck coming or K9 for Heisman or the deep end or the woodshed, whatever it is, that's what college football is all.
I mean, so as you see, he understands the community, he understands the fans, he knows how big this is to Spartan Nation. He understands what Tuck coming means. He gets all the fan engagement. He understands social media and how Spartan Nation reacts to that. Like, this is all part of building a culture.
Yeah.
It's all part of building a winner and building a program. This is something it's not about it's just not about just X's and O's.
No.
It's about getting buy-in from everybody, everywhere, all around, because he understands Michigan State, the community, the culture, and East Lansing. And, I mean, you got to give him credit. You got to give him credit for it.
When I listened to one of the many, videos that were on Twitter after the game on Sunday, that I'm sure a lot of you looked at, and you can find on MSU Football and Mel Tucker's Twitter, Instagram as well. It really drove it home, exactly what you just said, Musa. You said, he wants to engage with the community, the fans, and it's big. What he is building with this culture is something that's bigger than himself and bigger than every player on the team. We talk about it all the time. We say that it's not whether or not you can do it, it's whether you can believe that you can do it, the team that believes. But really belief comes from doing it for something greater than yourself. When he talked about this game, and you can hear his pregame speech, you can find it. He says, look to the man to the right of you. You're doing it for him. This ain't for you. This is the guy that you lift with, the guy that you ran with. I mean, as a former player, you're saying, like, that's it. It's not about you. It's about him. I'm doing this for him because he did that for me. And we're going to do this for each other. And when you do that, great things happen. Get that first. This is old school, he said. Get that first hit in, which is, man, I saw his father.
I saw that too.
Yeah, I saw his father in the elevator.
Yeah, his dad
Mel
came for the first time.
Oh, he's outstanding,
His dad
man.
came for the first time since 2008 to a game because I asked him, I said, like, Hawaii, Michigan State. He said, this is home. I'm from Cleveland. This is the first game my dad's attended since 2008.
Wow.
This is home. I mean,
Mel Tucker Sr., man.
Yeah, that's his dad. I mean, you can't replace home.
No, you can't.
All you naysayers out there talking about where he's going and out of town and all this other stuff, this is home to him. This is the first game his dad has attended in 13 years. There isn't a price tag for that. Not at all. And he tweets out stuff like this, and he shouts out the Spartan Nation. That is from the heart. That is from the heart. There's no question it's from the heart.
No, there ain't no price tag. There may not be a price tag for it, Brian. But let me tell you something. Rest assured, Michigan State, we're going to reach in our pockets.
Whoa. Speaking of pockets, you going to reach in those pockets for Coach?
Yes, sir. Look at that. Paul Bunyan stays tucked, baby. He's staying tucked. That was a great celebration at his home after the game. her former players, alumni, staff, and the like, and Brian Masalam, a distinguished guest.
That is what he gets, you know. He gets all that, right? Because
He
former
does.
players, Spartan Dogs, are part of the program. You know, alumni are part of the program. He understands that it's we,
Yes.
not us,
That's right.
and that every one of us has to buy in. And if you don't think, if you play football at this university and you don't think you matter, you're wrong. And if you don't think you coming to Spartan Stadium on a Saturday, you know, cheering your tail off and making a difference and being part of the deep end, you're wrong. Because he really believes it. He believes that everybody has to buy in.
Oh, let's be clear about that. You matter.
No question.
You played at Michigan State, you matter. You went to Michigan State, you want to cheer for the Spartans, you matter. You want to put us to the test? Let me tell you something. DM Brian, maybe myself. We'll make sure you understand that you matter.
DM Jason.
DM Brian, and
My
then
pleasure.
he'll give me
My
the
pleasure.
message. But we love you.
Love to help all Spartans. Absolutely.
Like it's one for one for all. This is what this is about. And Mel Tucker's a guy who walks the walk and talks the talk. He's not just saying this in front of the camera. He's real about this. And for those who don't believe, test it out. We'll show you. Ain't that right, Brian?
It is, because all of this is a byproduct, right? Winning is a byproduct
Yes.
of all of this. It's getting former players to buy in, alumni to buy in, Spartan Nation to buy in, the deep end to buy in, Spartan fans to buy in, current players to buy in. All of this is part about building a culture that allows us to succeed, because all hands are required on deck. And while they ran their mouth all week, not current players, former players ran their mouth all week and said some things that, you know.
And I wish
obviously-
we had that tape of the guy who was talking after the game, though, that number 90, I forget his name.
We got it. We got
Okay,
it. But
okay.
we'll get to that in a second.
Okay.
But I mean, all that stuff matters. Every bit of it matters. But if you don't believe that Coach Tucker's neighbor matters, the person that's cutting the grass at the building matters, if you don't believe that everybody matters. And this is one thing that I appreciate about him, because he was here in 97, 98. He knows how special this place is. He knows this is home. He knows his dad's from Cleveland. He knows that we're close by, and that, you know, the Big Ten is terrain that he's familiar with. And all that stuff matters. And this win was so big on so many fronts. Not to mention that it was 10 of 14, that it was so big on so many fronts.
10 of 14 matters.
10
Just
of
like Dougie Fresh matters.
10 of 14 matters. Dougie Fresh does matter.
He does matter. We love you, Dougie.
10 of 14 does matter. There is no question he matters. But you know what? All the hullabaloo, everything that transpired to Saturday, one person that came out of Saturday became a front runner for the Heisman.
Who might that be?
Had a little nickname going by K9, right?
Dog. K9.
Starting to heat up. And Gus Johnson on the call, talking about K9 heading to New York.
Hello, New York. Show us.
Here's the give. Walker! Kenneth Walker! Touchdown! Sparty! Hello, New York! I'll see you in a minute. Rest assured, I'm going to be there. 36, 33.
God, how excited does that get you, huh? That end zone copy. God. Special.
I mean, he could,
How many Spartans right now want to flip that table over?
I know I do.
How many hit that
Are you kidding
goddamn
me?
table when you're watching that game and you're like, damn it. God. Manuel Langford running in 2013 Big
It
Ten
was
Championship.
just like that.
Gus Johnson yelling, hello, New York. When he yells, I'm going to get over there right now.
Yeah.
I'm going to hit somebody right now.
Hello, New York.
Is he getting the hype and attention he deserves?
He's getting close.
Getting there?
I'm telling you.
He's getting there.
He's getting close. I mean, like, there's not, like, I don't care what your fan bases, all the respective fan bases in the world would like to say publicly, but ain't not one of you, and I'm saying that grammatically incorrect on purpose, that wouldn't trade who you got
That wasn't on purpose.
for him.
It was
Not
intentional.
one of you would not trade who you got for him. Not one.
His special back. He's a special back.
Huh? Name me one. Name me a school. Name me a team that says, no, I'm straight. I don't care. Look, Wake Forest, hats off to you. You let him go, and you're in the top 10 for the first time in 95 years. Hats off to you. But what would you be with them? I don't care who you are. Bama, you ain't got a K9. Georgia, I don't care who it is. This is a special back in an era in football where we don't see
Look at him bounce.
special backs as much as you used to see them back in the day when we were youngsters. This guy, look at the body control right there. Look at that. How many guys drag their knee before they get across the line?
Derrick Henry.
Come on, man.
I'll trade Derrick Henry.
No,
Tennessee Titans.
Yeah, I'll take him over doggone anybody that's out there right now. At his age and at his durability, right now, there's nobody like that.
Wow. Is that Heisman talk real? Let's be honest here. Does Michigan State have a big enough platform to push K9 to be considered legitimately for the Heisman?
College Football Playoff Committee says so.
I mean, Vegas says so. He's moving up the board in Vegas. Where's he at right now? What's that say?
Their eyes don't lie. They got him at plus 500.
They got him at plus 500 behind who?
You got C.J. Stroud,
He ain't winning the Heisman over
Ole Miss
K9.
quarterback, and Bryce Young.
He ain't winning the Heisman
no
over
way.
K9 either.
No way. It comes down to Bryce Young, as a quarterback versus Kim. And there it is. College Football Playoff rankings just told you that. In that they have Bama ranked 2, Michigan State 3. That's the Heisman race right there. They're saying that you guys are going to go head to head. That's what they're saying. Michigan State obviously has to win. They've got
We got a long way to go.
They got a long way to go.
We got to beat Purdue. We got to go 1-0. Listen, long way to go.
And so Alabama's got a long way to go.
Yeah.
Both teams. But this is what they're saying when they have Bama 2, Michigan State 3. That's the Heisman race right there. Bryce, K9.
I mean, we're going into week 9 or 10. We have a bye week. Week 10. And he is in serious discussion for the Heisman. When is the last time we had a Michigan State player in serious discussion in week 10?
1963.
Was it really?
Yes.
Who?
It was a young Sherman Lewis. Out of Louisville, Kentucky. The boy could fly. He happened to be my neighbor, too, right now. Sherman, he won 4 Super Bowls now as a coach. This is before they didn't want that pigmentation on the field when he was playing. Okay? They didn't want him that's how long it's been for Michigan State to have had a Heisman Trophy, a legitimate Heisman Trophy candidate. You talk about, Lorenzo White. He was one. But, Sherman Lewis, he finished in the top 3. He was legit.
Honestly,
Before too legit to quit.
we're not going to call him Kenneth Walker III.
K9.
We're going to call him Kenneth Walker the 5th.
The touchdown?
Yeah, absolutely. When you put up 5 against your rival,
K95.
K95, we're going to call him. There is no question. I've been watching college football a long time.
Yeah.
And I've watched Michigan State a long time.
Yep.
There is no question that game has put them back into the Heisman discussion without question.
That's Michigan.
And I cannot recall. That's Michigan. You're right.
If you would have watched football for 100, 200 years,
You're right.
you would have never seen an individual, a human being, because, it was in our ear during the broadcast. I'll admit it. They're saying, hey, nobody scored 5 touchdowns against Michigan. Nobody scored 5 touchdowns. But we're thinking it was the rivalry. It was not the rivalry. There has not been one human being to score 5 touchdowns on the University of Michigan. Red Grange. When they told me that, I said, oh, my God. You said Red Grange.
Wait a minute. Nobody else has scored 5 touchdowns against them?
No human.
Oh, wow.
Not a human has scored 5 touchdowns, or non-human, has scored 5 touchdowns against the University of Michigan.
Wow.
Ever. Besides him.
Wow.
You get the Heisman for that. The way the media, how should I put this, loves Michigan, he deserves an invite to New York City.
I mean, as of now, he absolutely deserves an invite. He is definitely in the discussion. There's absolutely no question about it.
Him and Red Grange.
Him and Red Grange. So you mean to tell me nobody else has scored 5 touchdowns against Michigan?
Ever. No.
In the history of Michigan.
In the history of Michigan football, which is a storied history.
In the
storied history of Michigan football.
And all the smack their players have talked.
Yep.
Nobody has ever scored 5 touchdowns.
Never.
We've carried Paul Bunyan 10 of the last 14 years, but nobody scored 5 touchdowns ever against them?
Nope.
Not including us.
Never.
Ever.
Ever?
Wow.
Forever.
Wow. That is remarkable.
I mean, look at the balance. Look at the speed, the acceleration.
Has Jim Harbaugh beaten a top 10 team in the last 10 years?
Never, ever. He has. Look. I know there's a lot of Michigan fans that are going to. They're currently calling for his head.
I know a lot of Michigan fans.
They're calling for his head. I think that's a mistake.
I know a lot of Michigan fans, and I know there's a lot of smack before the game, but Xavier Henderson after the game, he went off. He had some choice words to say about some of the comments made, not by current players, but by former players.
It sounded good before the game. Thanks, Mike Hart. Coach D said it'll never be over, still not over. Thanks, Winovich. Thanks, Luwan. Thanks, Braylon Edwards. I bet you know Chuck Brantley's name now, don't you? It sounded good, but I don't know what they're talking about now. And thanks, Spartan Nation, for being out there and sticking with us through the game while we were down. They stayed with us. I didn't see anybody leave, so we appreciate y'all from the bottom of our hearts.
So then there was a lot made about Braylon's comments. And, after the game, even Braylon doubled down on a tweet. I don't know if we have that. But some of the comments that he made.
There it is. Saying the same thing I said before the game. Where are they? 33? 385? 3 from the QB? You guys said it wasn't good. Over 100 yards rushing yet again?
Sure. K9 was great. That's great. And then, couple radio personalities go on the air and had some choice words for Braylon, and then his dad decides to jump in, Stanley Edwards, who I have a lot of respect for. And listen, I totally respect my dad. My dad would defend me too. Yeah. Absolutely. He might make a situation worse, but he will absolutely defend me. Yeah. And for that, I respect. And Stanley Edwards jumped on a radio station and said this.
Former Michigan great, Stanley Edwards. Good morning, Stan. How are you?
Stoney, what did Braylon say?
He said, earlier on, he said that he didn't.
You couldn't name anybody on defense.
I
didn't ask you, John. I'm talking to Stoney.
I just heard it in the break. Yes, he said he didn't know anything about Michigan State's defense. He never heard of Panashuk.
Beasley?
Okay. And that's talking smack because he never heard of him?
Well, you also have to understand the history. I mean,
John, I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to Stoney.
Okay.
Sit down for a second, John. You got my number. Call me if you want to talk to me. Stoney.
Hey, Stan. Stan, don't tell us how to do our job.
Stan,
all right?
this is on the heels of Joe
So here's what I know,
being
Stoney.
asked
Your job
about
seems to
the
be calling
linebacker.
my sons plural out on your network because you think it's some kind of shtick.
Hold on.
Then you see me at a public event and hold up your hand and do the soul brother handshake like I'm some friend of yours. You are absolutely the luckiest guy in this market because you have a job with no skill. But that probably goes more toward your radio audience.
Stanley, hold on a second. First of all, your last beef had, he hung up. There you go. Good. Way to go, Stan. I'm going to keep
up for that guy.
Well, their problem is that they are insecure because their football team over the years have been average to good every now and then. That's their problem, not ours. That's their problem. And so that insecurity has caused them, when they hear something that they don't like, they start moving around. Talk back. Talk back. That's all you got to do.
Yeah, I mean,
Michigan State's a great school. They got great reputation, and they got great people there. But they do have some airhead fans that need to shut up.
Some, not all. We are saying there were some, not all, and it's true. You know, we mess with Michigan State.
Too many.
It's gotten
Too many.
It's gotten way beyond that. End of the day, Michigan State, you guys won. Enjoy the win. Now it's time to get back to football. You guys got 4 games left to see what you really can do, because I believe that you guys have.
A wise man once said, "It doesn't come from the coach; it comes from the program."
Yeah.
And Mr. Edwards, with all due respect, because I have a ton of respect for my dad, so I'm going to show you respect about sounding insecure and talking smack. I think 10 of the last 14 years is we just don't get on the air and talk smack with our mouth. We talk smack with our pads. And I think we've proven that. And I think that's the biggest problem. I think John Jansen put it best, right? This little brother thing and all this talk, it has to stop. It just fuels the fire.
Why? Let them talk.
No. Keep
I'm
talking.
good with it.
I love it.
I'm good with it. Stan, keep doing what you're doing.
Keep
Braylon, keep
doing
doing what you're doing.
Listen.
Hey, Taylor, all y'all, keep doing what you're doing.
Hey, Charles Woodson, who I love, Hall of Famer, before the game, came out waving the Michigan flag on Michigan State's field before the game. Now that Coach D just shook my head. You guys can't help yourself.
Tell me,
you guys
how
can't
old
help
was
yourself.
Xavier Henderson?
It's a disease.
When
it's okay.
Taylor Lewan or Mike Hart. When Mike Hart was playing football at Michigan, how old was Xavier Henderson? Can somebody do that math?
7.
That's the first name out of his mouth after he beats Michigan at home.
Keep doing it. Keep doing it. Because Tuck's coming.
It lives on.
We're 10 of the last 14. And we don't talk smack on the radio. We don't talk smack to current players. Our current players talk smack with their shoulder pads. That's really what they do.
There's a big difference, Brian.
There is a big difference.
That's a huge difference. That's all I'm saying.
I mean, go to Taylor Lewan's tweet, please. Let's play that video with Taylor.
There you go.
Michigan's number 2 defense in the country. I'm not here to talk about Georgia, who's number 1. Michigan, the boys in blue, are the number 2 defense in the country. Overall, Michigan State is going to get donkeyed at home in East Lansing. Whatever that podunk town is, they're going down. Michigan's going home, taking Paul Bunyan, and kindly, I'm not going to say the F word, but Michigan State. You know what I'm saying? Not going to say the F word, but Michigan State. Okay?
I give Taylor Lewan credit because
oh my God.
After that he followed up with these 2 tweets. I deserve what's about to happen in my Twitter mentions. Go Blue. I shout out to MSU football fans in Indy today. Absolutely crushing me verbally. I made this bet for myself. You know what? Taylor Lewan, respect. You ran your mouth. You got it shoved down your throat, and you acknowledged it. And I can respect that. I absolutely can.
I'm not going to say the F word, but
yeah, but you know what? You took it like a man. You didn't double down like Braylon. You didn't have your dad come on and defend you. And I got to give you credit. I honestly got to give you credit.
To each his own.
To each his own. God bless you guys. And, you know, Mr. Edwards, you can talk about all the friends you have at Michigan State, and you can put your Michigan State shirt on.
You look good on you, though.
Absolutely. We love it. Got a lot of respect for you. We think it's fantastic. But when are you guys going to learn? All you do is fuel the fire. I just don't get it. And what you get is you've built a 14-year rivalry of animosity, and you allow Mark Dantonio to build a house, and you get this right here. Right? You got Coach D staring at 10 of the last 14 wins, looking at all the players celebrating. It all began with the infamous Mike Hart statements. And you say he looks at the house that he built. And that's what happens. That's what happens when people outside start interfering. Now, keep it going. Keep it going. Keep it going. Coach D deserves to take that all in. Coach D set the tone for this rivalry. It's not about insecurity. It's not about who's better than who. It's not about talking with your mouth. It's not about tweeting. It's about talking with your shoulder pads and showing results on the field. And I think 10 of the last 14 years have proved it, quite frankly. And we're on to the next opponent, which we take on a very dangerous Purdue team. And I'm not going to lie, Jason, this game scares the hell out of me.
It scares us all. No doubt about it. I mean, you were gone, I think it was 1997. I don't call them Boilermakers anymore. They're the Spoiler Makers. And rightfully so. I mean, they just beat the number 2 team a couple of weeks ago in the Iowa Hawkeyes. And they posted that nice little tweet afterwards saying, we beat the number 2.
Yes.
Out of Iowa.
Out of Iowa, yep.
That's what, you get it? Number 2 out of Iowa. They did that. Purdue is
What does number 2 stand for? Pencil?
Number 1, number 2,
The pencil?
That's what you ask, when you ask the little kids, you got to go number 1 or number 2.
Oh, I thought I thought it was a pencil.
That's a relief type of deal. It's
one of the tweets of the year, by the way.
Whatever. So yeah, that was great. So you're talking about the Spoiler Makers, man. I mean, I remember being down there.
That's a tough place to play
in West Lafayette. I mean, that's one of the most godforsaken places to play in all of college football. You talking about think Bloomington's rough? We got 41 new faces. They think Bloomington was like the Deliverance set of the movie, which they don't even know what that is because it was so old. These guys are so young. But you go to West Lafayette, man. I mean, it's scary, and it smells. And nothing's open after 7 p.m. It's crazy.
And we never play basketball there. We never play well in basketball there.
No, it's bad there, man. Like we
don't play well there in football.
They've got one Applebee's, a half a McDonald's, and everything else is like it's tumbleweeds. And very smart. They got astronauts, rocket scientists walking around. That's all they got.
Brilliant engineering school.
Brilliant people in the middle of nowhere, and it smells. So. You don't know what to think of it when you go there, and you go to this stadium, that Ross Aid Stadium. And
I hate the word trap game.
Oh my God, the grass is like
Why do we use the word trap game?
Spoiler Makers. They got that big old drum that comes.
They got a good coach.
They got
They're 5-3. They're a good football team.
I'm telling you.
On the road is a tough place to play.
Yeah. This is going to be a challenge for Michigan State.
Oh, this is going to be listen.
A young Drew Brees in 1997.
You're 8-0 and you're -3. What does that tell you?
Yep. Watch out.
Watch out. Absolutely watch out.
Watch your arse, son, because it could get knocked off.
So you're going to have to create some big plays. You're going to have to control their short passing game. They're very good at that dinking and dunking. Okay? And you're going to have to go in there and get over the Michigan hangover.
And never fall asleep.
Never fall asleep, because that is one tough place to play. We have played there before. We know how tough the crowd is. Really how the crowd lulls you to sleep.
Yeah.
Right.
You think, oh, I got this.
It's Purdue. Basketball, they don't care.
You think you're up by 10. If you get out to a 10-point lead against Purdue, you feel like it's a 40-point lead. That's a problem at Purdue. You feel like, oh, wait. We got a 50
truth,
point.
actually.
Yeah, you really do. You've been there.
We're up by like 9. I turned the TV off.
Be careful. I'm telling you that. Young Spartans, beware. Because you'll go down there, you're up by a touchdown, maybe 8 points.
Darian Harris's pick
Yeah.
sealed the game when in 15.
Yeah.
When we were ranked whatever 5th, 6th in the country. That's a tough place to play. Do you have any doubt in the world Mel Tucker will have him ready?
No doubt, no doubt in my mind at all that Mel Tucker's going to have him ready. He's going to tell them. He's going to push it. He's going to crank it up and make them understand this. I want him to show them that video of 1997 when Drew Brees came in the ball game. I think we were up by 20. It was only about 2 minutes, a little over 2 minutes ago.
Kick.
Oh, my goodness. And they found a way, man. Show them that. Frame by frame by frame. And explain to them that this is the history, in which they've done a phenomenal job of doing. They've done a phenomenal job of spoon-feeding the 41 new faces into indoctrinating them to what this series really means as far as Michigan's concerned. But on to the next. 24 hours to celebrate. On to the next one. Purdue's on the clock. You got to show them this one, too, because there is some history.
For us non-fans, we kind of celebrate it a little bit longer than 24 hours.
We're still celebrating.
I mean, we are. Yeah.
We're all still celebrating. Go green.
We're not preparing for the game, so we get to celebrate till probably Wednesday, right?
You're going to be celebrating till halftime of the Purdue game.
Thursday. But really, if you lose this game against Purdue, how much luster do you lose from the Michigan win?
A ton. You lose it all.
Absolutely.
You lose it all. The most important game?
And the next one.
It's the next one.
I know those sound so cliche, right?
It's true.
But it's so true. Live in the moment. Live in the moment. Got to go 1-0 this week.
That third
Focus
ranking
on
is
the
fickle.
task at hand.
It's fickle.
Fickle.
The third ranking, no waffling flakes.
Forget about
waffling flakes, fickle. I'm talking about the third ranking.
Ignore
it's
all the rankings.
Fickle.
You win, everything takes care of itself.
Yes, it does.
Head into West Lafayette. Swing by to watch the Jets first in Indianapolis. And then head into West Lafayette. Get the W. Get out of there. Predictions.
We got a lot of college. We got a high school playoffs going on.
Oh, we got the Fortune Tractors against Woodhaven and Catholic Central against
West Bloomfield.
Okay.
Oh, boy.
We're heading for a crash course collision.
Our Brother Rice somewhere.
Brother Rice ran over.
St. Mary's Brother Rice.
We'll about that
okay.
Later.
You got to give them some love, too. Catholic League, baby. Catholic League.
The road to Fort Field goes through Fortson High School.
Fortson High School.
Don't worry about it.
Antonio Gates Jr.
Nostradamus. Predictions for Saturday.
Oh, boy. I think it's going to be a tough game again. This is not going to be an easy one. So get your chest compressions out, your cardiac kit. I think Michigan State battles in this game and finds a way to win late and pulls ahead and ultimately wins by 12 points.
12?
Yes.
You know
12.
what? I wish I was as optimistic as you. I think this is going to be a nail biter.
Oh, yeah. It's until that 12 hit.
I think we are going down to the wire. I think we're going to have a final from what my voice is still lost from Saturday. Wow.
Because you're on the sideline with all the big donors. You're making it all happen.
I lost my voice. I swear I still lost my voice.
Some people are just working.
My Moose's lock of the week. without question, unequivocally, Michigan State will walk into West Lafayette and will come out of there victorious 20-17.
3 points. Barely not covering.
I don't even know what the spread is. I have no idea. Take the money line. We win. Anyway, thank you for everybody. Thank you for joining us. It has been a pleasure. I am your co-host, Brian Musalam, along with my co-host, Jason Strayhorn. You are watching Inside the Locker Room. We will see everybody next week. Take care and go green.
Good night. God bless.